Oh, okay.
I had a weird conversation with John yesterday about, was that you or John with Scooby-Doo's real name? That was, John and I don't know how, this is how I know we're live right now, but this is how our conversations go. It's just not all tech, right? Sometimes we talk about things like cereal and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and apparently cartoons. So Scooby-Doo, for those that did not know. Yeah, apparently that's a thing. Anyway, what's up, everybody, and welcome to we're going to call this our Thanksgiving edition of Extra Sauce. Of course, I am Larry, and we're here a bit early. And of course, the lead host extraordinaire, my partner in crime,
Derek. That's me. I'm Derek. Thanks for joining us.
You see how weird that is?
Yeah, it is. I'm not used to it. You threw me off. I'm glad you did, because I was actually looking at something that I found that was really interesting that I'll talk about in a moment. But obviously, first and foremost, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Really quickly, two things. Hopefully everybody is doing very good and ready for a good holiday if you are in the US. Hopefully you have a great time. Be safe. Eat lots of good food. But also, yes, we are at a different time today. And you know what's funny? I happen to be checking comments on the last one we did. It just happened to play a particular moment where we had somebody say, "What's up with you guys at a different time?" You know, whatever. And Larry did say, "You can find us consistently at the same time." And literally the next week, which is today, we're at a different time. So thanks for joining us either way. This is how we do things. Honestly, if you are new here, and those of you who are here, welcome. Again, welcome back. But of course, we're here to support anybody regarding anything Sony that we can actually discuss. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. Quick shout out to Toto Roro, Vedant's back, Ronan's back, Brahm is back, Heaven Aliyah's back, Will Tech. Okay, no challenging questions yet. Hold off on that. Don't kill us yet before the holiday. But thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. We'll get to some of the questions. And I know Larry's got something special cooked up. I don't know what it is. So don't let us down. Larry, no pressure.
I'm not. So, well, it is pressure because I just hope this works. You know, it's way different being at home than it is being in studio. But I have complete confidence.
Sorry, Sam just jumped in and said good morning. Oh. No, you're good. But Sam was the one that you said, you know what, we're going to be so consistent with our time. Sam, and here we are.
Sam, listen, look, in my defense, you and I both had this conversation like, man, this is the day before Thanksgiving in the US. Do we have the show? Do we not have the show? And I remembered saying we are consistent. But Sam, I forgot I included the time part of that, but it's Wednesday and we're here. My bad. But if you have the notification bell turned on, if Derek decides to change the time in the future, you'll be notified and you'll know that we'll be here. So my bad. My bad,
Sam. So I want to obviously get to the questions. Coffee's back. Welcome back. If you have any questions, let us know. Will Tech just dropped the question. I'm going to ignore it for the moment because we got some other ones first. But let's start from the beginning. Toto Roro says, is the A95L capable of 144 hertz gaming? The chip apparently is capable, and would it be possible to reduce the input lag on this TV for competitive gaming? And I know we briefly mentioned this before we actually went live, and you had a really good response for it. So you want to take it away?
Don't do that. Don't. You have this really good response. And all right, here's the thing. First of all, technically, we can't speak on the performances or capabilities of a chipset. I trust your research and your information, but that's something Derek and I can't talk about. However, chipset is only one part of the scenario. The processor is the other part. Now, I'm just going to speak on, please disclaimer, John. I'm going to speak from my own perspective and opinion. I want to make sure that I'm not speaking on behalf of Sony, the engineers, or anyone in California or Tokyo for that matter. But our focus has been continuing to deliver exceptional performance with respect to TV shows as well as movies and streaming content with our studio calibrated modes. Now, we are starting to grow our let's call it dedicated focus on delivering a gaming experience that started with perfect for PlayStation 5 and then also with the game menu, so on and so forth. So clearly you guys can see that there's a growth towards there. Our current processor and the way our TVs are set up are designed to focus on how it receives 30, 60, or 120 hertz frequency. Pictures and images. 144, I get it. We have, and we will continue to do our part to be able to share that. This is a conversation that we've had a few months ago that came up. We'll continue to communicate the desire to have that. We don't know what the future is going to hold, but it has not been a focus of ours. I know that some of the other models out there, some of the other brands out there sort of highlight that and share that. Maybe we'll see that in the future. I can't speak on it, but it's more than the chipset, it's the processor, and that's the situation because movies and TV shows aren't done in 144 hertz. So that's my 2 cents. It's not a good answer, but it's an answer.
Yeah, and honestly, we don't have an actual answer because we don't have that information, to be fair. So I think it's a good speculation. It does make sense to me. The interesting thing, and too, especially like competitive gaming, you know, going back many, many, many years ago, I would have thought that I could have been one, but I don't know if I'm just ancient at this point. But, you know, I game on the A95L now, and I think I'm all right. But, you know, what is the difference in the input lag of, I don't know, whatever I have, 7 to 11 milliseconds versus 2? Can I perceive it? Probably not. But I know there are a lot of people that are, you know, very much apparently aware of those little differences. So it'd be cool to see what we could do in the future. But honestly, I don't really know what that would be in the future. We do have another question here, Bram. It's an interesting question. We can only speculate on this. So I'll kind of preface it with this. Can we expect a bright future for Bravia and hardware in general, with some departments losing ground on the competition units wise? I'll say this. I can't speak on what the future holds because we are not part of those conversations. Do I expect a bright future? Yes, I do personally, because I would love to see that because obviously, well, it's part of my interests and honestly my well-being because I am employed with this company and I do love it. But it would be really cool to see what Sony does. Sony has done so many amazing things technology-wise and is in so much more than what many people see, especially when those of you who get the chance to go to CES or hear about what we have at CES. We don't really have consumer products there like we used to in the past. It's now like industry level, high up technologies that are providing for many other companies. So I know there's going to be something. What it is, I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that though, Larry. What do you expect?
No, I was hanging on to the term bright future. I'm sorry. It's little things that catch my attention. As not speaking on financials and production and units, but performance wise, I am expecting a bright future. If the Bravia 9 is any indication of the direction that we're heading with the future of our TV products, I think bright is a great way to characterize that. It's my 2 cents.
I like that. So I'm going to put out there now, we got about 18 minutes because we do have a time limit again. So a couple of really quick things. Heaven Aaliyah, what up, what up? I love it. Can you set up Sony Bravia TVs with TalkBack? Yes, you can. I've not actually really done it because I don't need it, but it is an accessibility feature. Can you show that today?
Yes.
Look, we're going to try something new.
Look, if our producer is on his game, yes, we can. If we fail, it's John's fault. Let's just own it. Okay. Look at that. Okay.
You want to get that ready? I'm going to answer a question really quickly because I knew this was going to come up and I literally was looking it up as we were logging in. The question, not from DS this time, but from SHS. Interesting. Any info on the A95L firmware dropping in Europe? So I am on sony.co.uk, the support site, and I went to the 65XR90 Bravia 9. Why am I on Bravia 9? That's A95. Hang on a second. I looked at the wrong one. But that one did just recently have an update. I'll add that because I'm on the wrong page. So those of you who have the Bravia 9, as I'm looking up the right thing here, that one did recently get an update. Don't laugh at me. I got all excited because it was right as we were logging in. I'm checking. So no,
I'm
I don't have
laughing.
any information. So here's the update.
I'm laughing because Derek was like, "Let me answer this one real quick before
I know, I
while you're
was
getting
so
that ready."
excited,
He
and then I
was
had the
ready.
wrong thing pulled up. Man, you know what? Amateur over here, Larry. It's your show, sir.
It's
I
okay.
give up. No.
Nah. Okay,
But for
John.
those, because I know that question's going to come up. I haven't heard
Mhm.
anything. We have poked some questions out there, but we're not really at the level where people kind of give us that information. So no updates yet on A95 for Europe.
Yep. And we actually probably get less information with the amount of things that we disclose that we probably shouldn't, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, we do
All right.
toe a line for sure.
So Heaven had the question about TalkBack. John, can you go full screen to our share?
Ooh,
All right. So this
that.
is my Bravia 9. So Heaven, if you just bring up the quick settings menu, what you'll do is you'll find this option accessibility. I'll take a moment just in case you guys, it's not defaulted on. I can't remember because I changed my quick settings. But if you don't see accessibility, go to the edit option, and this brings up more options that you can add as a part of your selectable quick settings. All right. But now back to accessibility. You'll just go to accessibility, click select. And what this does is it brings up a menu of all of our accessibility features. And you'll see under services right here, there's TalkBack. And all you have to do is click that and select enable. There's also a configuration option on there, and you're good to go. So, yes, you can enable TalkBack on our television. So,
Awesome.
good to go.
Love it. Cool. That's a nice addition here. Good call, Larry. Good job, John, making it work too. All right. So where are we at here? Any update status? The red blinking lights A95 that everyone keeps getting. I have not gotten that or seen it yet. Seems to happen more often related to this error. But we have relayed the information that this question has been brought up oftentimes from you, Will, which is a-okay. So we're bringing that up, and I'm actually just looking at some of these other questions you have here too. Icons don't appear to be 4K, looking a little blurry, and some other issues. All of that stuff has been relayed. As far as is it an issue and what's still being worked on, status of anything, I don't have any of that information though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Wow, you have a bunch of those. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have anything. I'll just kind of broadly, because you had a whole bunch of those questions, and I will share those again. Any of those questions that we don't have answers to with the team, so let them know that people are asking the questions. What happens at that point goes to smarter people than us that have the ability to actually investigate it, try to recreate the issues, and find out what is going on if it is some sort of common issue. But yeah, there's a lot of things in the background. They're always looking at this feedback to see what they can do in the future. So
yeah, and Will, and forgive us. I know you asked another question regarding some, the continued development on Dolby Vision and A95L, some things that were coming. We had a big event, I think, over the last couple of weeks in New York. There's just an incredible Cinemas Coming Home sweepstakes where it's Bravia and also Spider-Man. We haven't been in contact with our normal team. We will be, obviously, for December. We will be going out to San Diego where we have our normal briefing meetings with the product team. So we'll get an update for you all. If not by our next episode next Wednesday, definitely look for us to try to give some feedback on what's going on. If there's anything else coming on A95 in December. So
yeah. Will, you're absolutely welcome to email us too, like a collection of those things, and we can send it. I know some of these things you've brought up before, all of that has been shared, but of course, you can always share it again as well. Let's see, where are we at here? Vedant has Theater Quad keeps dropping connection with Bravia Connect app and is connected via 1 gigabit per second Ethernet. Oh,
did you mute myself? Sorry. It's because you guys complain about my keyboard clicking, so I mute myself when I have to type. All right. I was telling Joey B what's good. All right. Here's my question. I have a two-part question. Does it disconnect while you have the app actively open, or are we talking about you go to the app, functionality works, and then you close your app or your phone screen turns off and you go back to it and the app is no longer connected? And the reason why I'm asking that is I want us to investigate what's going on there. I don't have that experience, but I have an Android, Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. And Android, I think sometimes different than iOS. John, you may be able, or Derek, you may be able to speak to this a little bit more, but Android keeps all the apps running all the time, right? Which sort of is a good and a bad thing. So I don't experience it. And I use the Bravia Connect app every single day. So what I want to do is try to identify, is it app side? Is it source or the quad itself side? Or is it the cell phone issue with the way it's managing its apps? So that's kind of what we need to look at. And having all of that information could be helpful for us to try to investigate that for you.
Nice. I like it. Cool. Let's see. Followed up though too. Why is there a small click sound from A95L when powering it on and off? I mean, I know I have an AVR that usually makes a bit of a click, but typically most TVs, when they start activating, there usually is some sort of a click to, I don't know exactly what it comes from though. Is it that's one of the,
Yeah,
most TVs will do
all
that.
All the OLEDs do it.
Can they hear you, John? Or are you just talking?
No. John just ran down his list of TVs that he has. He says his A90K, his Z9J does it. I know my A80J does it. His A1E does it, and I think the Bravia 9 does it. I don't know. So Derek, hear me out, right? Yeah, it may just be activating the light source, like almost like flipping on a light switch in a room. I know that I may be like really sort of minimizing kind of what it could be, but
Yeah.
you always hear that small click before the backlight powers on is actually when you hear it in a sequence. Then,
yeah, I don't know if it's something to do with the power. I'm not really sure, but I know it's common. Now, if it's really loud, or that's when there might be something strange. But if it is quiet, it's on. I could turn on my TV behind me and it would probably do it too. You guys wouldn't hear it, but you shouldn't be concerned. But if it's really loud, definitely get a hold of support, see what's happening with that.
Breaking news, our TVs have soft start. Sorry. Only John gets that.
I don't actually even know what you're talking about.
I know. Soft start on your this is way off base, but whatever. It's day for Thanksgiving. If you have an HVAC system, your air conditioning unit at home, soft start is what it sort of delays or gradually delivers power to the system. So it's not this massive flow of voltage that goes to the hardware. And it's designed to prolong and protect your air conditioning unit. I'm not saying that that's what's on our TV, but it also helps with generators. Yep. There you go. Yep. There you go, John. Thank you for that. John flexing because he has a generator. But yeah, I think I'm not saying that that's what it is. We'll look into it, but that'd be a cool story if that's what it is, right? To protect the internal parts of your TV. Maybe that's why Sony TVs last so long.
Interesting. Coffee makes comment here. One of the factors about the Bravia 3 instead of the 7 is only use the TV for shows and movies, so doesn't need 120 hertz. Game on my 180 hertz PC. Hey, nothing wrong with that. If it's gonna fit for what you're looking for, go for it. Yeah, that's a beast of a monitor then that you got for that PC. So can't argue with that.
Love it.
Let's see.
I love it.
This is an interesting one. Will, that was a new one I will mark down. Watching the Peacock internal app, call it picture settings. It freezes until you're done. It's the only app that does it. Don't know. Haven't tried that. I will have to check that out as well. Actually, yeah. So we'll add that.
So what happens when you go into Peacock? What happens?
At least in the 895L, when you go into picture settings to adjust something, the picture freezes until you're done.
Well, clear.
While you're doing that, Josh says, will the X90K be getting an update soon? Hard to say, and I thought you followed up. Disney Plus does not have the IMAX enhanced sound. Is that supposed to get
not on
audio
all
part of it?
Yeah. So
yeah, I think because it's IMAX enhanced picture has, but
well, there is an audio. There is.
The audio that's it's more of a newer thing, right?
Yeah, I'm really gonna get us fired. But we'll keep on, and I'll see if I feel comfortable bringing this up and getting myself fired today.
Don't get
I
fired
know on
today.
the 2024 models. So I think from a hardware standpoint, what Derek and I would need to find out is, are there hardware limitations that prevent previous models from supporting that codec? For example, I do
Right.
know that on the Bravia 9, it does have it. Um, God, I'll get fired for this, right, John?
Don't get fired for it.
I know you see what I'm doing.
But we're lying
Yeah,
carefully.
we'll all get fired.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're not going to
I
get
was gonna
fired.
try to find a if I yeah, quick, yeah. Derek's trying to save me.
I'm trying.
Okay,
Okay. I'm
cut
just
to it
going
real
to.
quick, John, real
Oh,
quick.
you got something?
Hold on, Derek. Yeah, hold on. Let's do this. Yeah, cut to John. Can you cut full screen to the share? Is it there? Is it not? It's not there. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Content
it can't
protected.
show
You won't be able to see
content, I
it.
bet.
Um,
Content protection.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, but I will tell you on the 2024 models, I don't know which if you have a newer TV or not, other than that one. But when you do play content that supports it, and you scroll down, it's not on by default. While you're viewing the content, if you pull down on the remote selector, it brings up the gear icon next to closed captions. Select the gear icon, and what it says is IMAX enhanced sound with DTSX, and it's off by default, and you would just toggle it on. So again, I'm not sure if the K series supports it. I have to check the A95K later, but the 2024 models definitely do. So, all right. Sorry that took so long.
Yay, we all get to keep our jobs for now. All right. uh, yeah, for now. Bram is saying, thanks for the reply. No problem. Loved Sony their whole life. A95L OLED's my dream TV. It has that. Awesome. Hope the Bravia OLED stays a thing and Sony comes out hard this year with processing and features. Yeah, it's what I want to just quickly kind of say this, and I know Larry, you have more time spent around the Sony history of things, but when you think about like major changes in TV technology, there is usually a couple of years in between these things. When you think about the first flat screen, the first full array backlight, the first 3D TV, the first 120 hertz, the first, all these different firsts, there's always like a gap in between those things. And it does sort of feel like we're in that, but we're really not. When you think about QD OLED technology is very new. When you think about this brand new backlight system that we're utilizing, the new driver IC in the Bravia 9 is brand new. So I don't really know what we're going to have, but I like to be a little reserved in my expectations year to year. Do I expect something because of these recent changes this year? I would love to see something. I honestly don't know. But in the history of things, from what I'm familiar with, it's probably going to be 2 or 3 years, maybe, to have something that's like a massive shift when you look back. But I could be wrong, and I'm excited to see whatever it is we're going to do. But yeah, I mean, we can hope so. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. Usually the cycle works like there's a hardware, because what you're asking for is a next generation hardware component, because first there's hardware, whether it's when we did 8K panels or even OLED or QD OLED, right? So at first it's a hardware component, and then the next couple of years that most people perceive as kind of a lull, it's all about software trying to reach the maximum potential of that existing hardware. And then once those limitations have been reached, then the next natural progression is to go with a next generation or next innovation in hardware. And then you do software to try to maximize that. That's basically the cycle that we're looking at. So give it time.
Give it time. Yeah. He did just follow up too with new evolution of the XR processor, like XR2 or something, with much more. I'm thinking AI maybe, but I don't know. Our processors typically last a long time too, and I don't know. I mean, there is much more capability with AI stuff, so I'd be very interested to see what that could be, because I always love seeing like the initial like concept, like they did with the X1 Ultimate at CES years ago. Oh man, that was such a cool thing to see, and I don't know.
Can I ask a question, a poll question, real quick for the viewers? Just silly question. We're on our third iteration, technically V3 of the XR processor, but we keep
That's
the same name,
that's
right?
true. You know what? That's
Here's
one of
my
those things. Oh, go ahead.
well, that's my here's my question for you all from a marketing standpoint or from a consumer standpoint. It is fourth. Yeah, you're right. Fourth. John just corrected me. If you all would like to see us differentiate the processors by giving them a new name every year, it's a new version of the baseline processor. Type one in the chat. If that's not important to you and XR is XR and you're good with that, put two in the chat. I'm just curious because we did X1, X1 4K HDR, X1 Extreme, X1 Ultimate. We used to do that.
Hmm.
But then we kind of got away from that. So if you guys
Hmm.
think that would be more compelling or beneficial for you all as consumers to know or to be able to easily identify changes year over year in products, let us know and we can relay that up to the powers that be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
Can
Cool. We're
I
seeing some
can I answer
response. Oh,
Diego's question real quick?
yeah, go
Diego
for it.
had a question a little bit earlier. Diego said, "Hello, will the A80J receive a new Android update?" Thank you for your answer because you thanked us in advance. I need to make sure I answer that. Android firmware Android software on televisions has been a hot topic. Derek and I are going to do a whole segment on this. So, Derek, please remind me that we're going to do a whole segment on this in December. Okay. We took our time and started looking side by side. Yeah, December 12th. Thank you, John. We looked side by side comparisons between what's available on Android 10, what's available on Android 12, what's available on Android 14, so on and so forth. What's interesting is that a lot of those new Android builds were designed for like Google Chromecast, NVIDIA Shield. Sure, I'm getting fired for that. But those standalone Google TV components, because they don't have some of the features that exist natively in a Sony TV, for example. A big jump between Android 10 and Android 12, I think it was accessibility features like Heaven brought up, like TalkBack and some of those features. And some of them are some security patches and things of that nature. If you really look into some of those differences, you'll be hard pressed to find some other things. I think one of them was improved support for 4K 120 playback or 4K 60 playback. I can't remember what it was, but those are things that are natively built into the TV. So TVs won't follow the same software lifecycle as you hear published that's really designed to kind of help and improve those standalone Google TV devices. But Derek and I will spend more time doing a side-by-side breakdown on that on December 12th on our SOS episode, Sony After Hours Support. So there we go.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's address a couple and we can start to wrap up. We're actually already over. It went super quick as per usual, but yeah, we got a lot of good questions here. We'll try to burn through what we have here. And if we missed your question, you can always put the comment in after the live is over and we can respond directly to that, or you can send us an email as well. But quickly, Vedant, I did mark your comment down for the volume reset as well. So we can look into that and see if that's something we can share. Well, we will share it, see what happens as a result of us sharing it. Let's see. Josh Ray, does the 120 hertz refresh rate only work with a game console on the X90K? So technically the X90K runs at 120 hertz. So it's processing that signal at 120 hertz. If the content is 120, it will be able to play it. That is specifically if you have an external input that would be HDMI 3 or 4. So if you have 4K 120 on a game console, you can run that through those ports. Yes. Now, other pieces of content generally aren't running 120. So the TV will refresh it at 120 based on your motion settings and what you adjust to kind of make it look the way that you want. But movies and shows and stuff like that, I think the highest they do is like 60. And honestly, most people are kind of like freaked out by it because it looks too real. So yeah, you typically don't see that with other types of content though.
Gemini Man was done in Gemini Man was done in 4K 60, right?
At least there was a version of it, and I remember seeing
that's
a clip.
And Sony movie, right?
It's so weird to see that clip. We used to have that, and I just remember watching and be like, what is this? This is a soap opera? Because that's why they call it the soap opera effect, you know. It was really strange to see that. But, some people like it. But honestly, I think we're so used to lower frame rates to make it have that cinematic feeling to separate it from the reality, which makes it more of a movie experience. So,
that's why you should decide it's either 24p or 60p. You 30p people out there looking at you, Derek, stop it.
You know what?
24 or 60.
If it's a good native number that can look good and smooth, but and it doesn't use as much data. Why not? I'm not about uploading a video clip that I uploaded that's a minute long, but it's 7 gigs.
Oh yeah, you talk about my 12 gig 3-minute
4K
video?
120.
I digress. Okay, sorry. For those Sony historians out there, 52-inch XBR7 that Sony had in circa 2009, maybe, was the first native 240 hertz panel television, and it had a 6 to 9 month life cycle. John, you'll have to remind me, because of that very soap opera effect you're talking about, Derek. It was very jarring to see it. So
it definitely is. It's an experience. That's for sure. All right, a couple quick ones here. Suede Pup, is dynamic tone mapping off the same as HGiG on modern Bravia TVs? I'm skeptical because static tone mapping seems to always be present on Bravias, even with dynamic tone mapping off. Why no official Sony HGiG? Whew, man, going a little. That's not really a quick one to answer. I'm processing in my head. Yeah, there's.
Well, we do frame by frame metadata, and since X1 Extreme, I think 6X1, at least X1 Ultimate. Let me just say that. Since X1 Ultimate, our processors have delivered frame by frame dynamic metadata, which is why we were late to introduce Dolby Vision to our TVs years and years ago, and so on and so forth, because our processors have already natively been able to read the content. I know that we did introduce source-based tone mapping, which is part of the question. Yep. Derek, you looked a lot into source-based tone mapping, I think, previously from one of our shows, which is HGiG.
It's pretty much
just different.
It's the same concept. It's really just relying on that source device to determine the tone mapping that is then represented within the TV. So it's basically giving you the same result. But yeah, a little bit of a different name. I think, if I remember correctly, it's just a little bit more universal that could be accepted across multiple other types of devices that may use it in the future as well, based on how that kind of grows. So. Yeah, so I do want to look into that a little bit more, and I think that's a question I want to bring up to JT, I think, next time I talk to him, source-based tone mapping, because there were some good questions we had on that I didn't have an answer for. So maybe we can go into some more detail for you in the future as well. December 12th, yes. Will Tech, thanks for the help, guys. Hopefully I'm not too much of a pain. Well, you are. No, I'm just kidding. No.
No, we love you, Will. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really the purpose of this, is to I clearly see, Will, that you are gathering information, you're looking stuff up, and you're kind of collecting a lot of these questions and offering to them to us, which is great. That's what we're looking for. Because one of the things I will say that I've learned from Sony, and I can't speak for other companies, hopefully they're doing the same thing, but it's like, we're not out there looking to say, hey, tell us how great we are. No, we're looking to say, what are your concerns so that we can be better? Which I love that idea. And this is exactly that, where if we are missing on some of these things across any one of our products, we want to share that with the engineers, the business unit leaders, so that they are aware of it, to then do some research, find out, is it an issue? Is it a one-off? What is our next steps if it's a problem? And so I appreciate it. For sure.
Good answer. TV has a question. Good morning, TV. I have 2 XP700 speakers. How to connect one microphone to 2 speakers without splitter cable? Splitter cable is the way to do it. Our stereo pair functionality on our wireless speakers, and even Party Connect for that matter, you will only receive the connected microphone audio from I'll call it the primary speaker that you are hardwired or connected to. It will not split across the chain. The chain is just splitting the audio signal from the music. So splitter is the way to go. It works great. My wife is a karaoke pro, and she loves to link up all of our speakers and connect a bunch of splitters. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, we're getting down to the end here. Josh Ray, Bravia Core app on the XNEK does support DTS sound, so the TV does support it. I don't know why Disney Plus app does not, but the Core app does in the Exxon Cave. Not sure what that is. It works like it should.
IMAX enhanced audio is a little different. It is it's encoded with DTSX. I need to find out the particulars, but I know when we first started looking into it, it actually caught me off guard that it was on the 2024 models. There is something that differentiates it from just the normal DTSX. So let's take that back.
Yeah, we got to dive into that a little more, I think, to get a good, solid answer for that.
It's come up a couple of times. So.
Calio just makes a comment here. 50X95J runs Stellar Blade on Pro Max, high frame rate mode, 120 hertz VRR seamlessly with my new PS5 Pro. Wow, that's awesome. That was a lot of stuff. I need a new 70-inch TV. 70-inch TV. Oh man, 65, 75. Those seem to be the options nowadays. So sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, John's talking in the background. We're just gonna ignore that one. You are a nerd. That's okay. One of my kind. Yeah. Let's see. Sam says, just a thought, just came to me, but I really, really hope Sony stays dedicated to physical media, in particular Blu-ray players. That's that we see that every now and then.
You know who owns that responsibility though? Not to throw it off of us. Well, it's still kind of partially us. It's the movie studios.
Yeah.
So they are responsible for pressing the discs and those kind of things. Like if the studios are committed to continuing to press and create a number of physical media Blu-ray discs, and sadly to say, retail stores have them readily available, right? A lot of big box stores, they're gone from there. Those are some of the factors that go into an electronics company making the determination whether to invest in the hardware, because you will have to have access to those physical components to be able to run them. So that's kind of what we're at the mercy of.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the demand. Yeah. From a technology standpoint, everybody is chasing streaming content to be near Blu-ray quality, circa our Pure Stream on that's kind of where we are. So yeah.
Yep.
Sony Pictures cool.
So we'll wrap up here with the last couple of comments here. CFL says, I have the X85K. It's so hard for me to consider upgrading. The TV is so good. The only driving force is random cutoff audio from the A7000. Like my HDMI port is bad. You may want to check just to see if you need to update your A7000.
I was thinking the same thing.
If it's not connected to the network, which sometimes is the case with soundbars, because even though it does prompt, in the beginning of the ones that are capable of it. If we don't do that, you're actually not getting access to those updates. So you may want to check that in the settings as well. And if you need any help, you can go to the Sony support website, look up the model, and it can tell you the steps of how to do the update there as well. Vedant has, do you recommend adding ambient lights to the A95L? So I will share how I watch my A95L. Now I have it in the basement. I typically watch at night. I am a huge fan of bias lighting. So I only light behind. Yeah, really, Larry? Bravia 9, remember? Just saying. We chose our choices, okay? We went different routes. So, but yeah, I absolutely do wholly believe in doing some ambient lighting, because honestly, that now allows me to not have to max out the brightness on my A95L to really get a good experience for what I like. So that's my personal opinion. I would definitely recommend checking it out. I'm actually considering, with good deals coming up, upgrading to some of the lighting that adjusts to what's on the screen. I'm not going to say brands here, but considering doing some of that, because I think that'd be pretty awesome. Let's see. Yeah. 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 And any TV, really, it can make a big difference because you're not lighting the front. If you can bias light from behind the TV, I think it just kind of, I don't know, it just makes personally, I just think it makes a more comfortable experience because it makes the TV not seem as bright, but you're not changing or affecting really the perception as much with light shining or reflecting on the screen directly. Let's see. Guys, okay, this we'll kind of wrap up here. Guys, does the Bravia Theater U work with my Sony X95L TV? Yes, it will pair with Bluetooth. You won't get the ability to do like the simultaneous audio output that some people are benefiting from with using Theater with the existing TV speakers or a separate audio system, but it does support the 3D audio functionality, and you can actually do 2 Theater U's because they actually pair together. So yes, and that's a great gift idea for.
I have a tricky question for you, Derek.
Oh no. Go for it.
I have a tricky question for you. Yeah. Oh, I see it's stock on our direct. So I noticed that he mentioned 360 regarding connection to X95L. Question: because the Theater U does the Theater U work with the WLA NS7 puck?
Oh yeah, good call. Thank you.
And
you're right.
If you connect,
so yes, you would need that if you want.
If you connect that puck to the X95L, will it then enable 360? Perfect.
If you have the WL N7 NS7, something like that. Yeah, that's if you want the full experience of 3D audio. You do need that adapter as well. But if you're just doing regular Bluetooth connection, you can do that right away. I'll be honest, personally, I actually prefer not using the 3D audio personally. You can check it out. It does add some extra depth, but I game with it pretty much every night. And it does a great job of giving me a sense of space. Not as much height when it's just on normal without 3D, but it still sounds awesome. Good. Cool.
Shout out to my guy Bradley. What's up, brother? Okay, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk later. That's an inside thing. Don't worry about it, Derek. Okay. John, don't worry about scrolling looking for the name Bradley. You're not going to find it. So don't worry about it.
Let's see. Yeah. So we'll leave here with Vedant's last question or comment here. We'll make note of this. The issue. Oh, we got one more we got to answer then too. The issue happens when I open the Bravia Connect app and it says it's disconnected. The A95L stays connected always. This was with a quad question. Okay.
We'll dig. Send us an email on that because I think there's some back and forth. Because I have questions like, do you have both the quad and the A95L bundled within the Bravia Connect app, where you just because you can access controls separately from each individual one, or you can access the bundle package, as I'll call it. But email us on that so that we can kind of get some back and forth and we can test. And Derek will send me his A95 so I can do apples to apples.
No. Not going to happen. Video hopefully does look okay. I mean, I was looking at Larry here on my screen. I know we have a different feed from what you guys see because of the delay. It was running at like 2 frames a second, but that's what it looked like from my end. I'm just saying. Yeah, we're running some Sony cameras. Go figure. Alpha 7 IV, I think you have as well, right? Yep. Yeah.
Alpha 7 IV with the SEL 35 f1.4 Zeiss lens. No, 1.4 everything. Okay, so sorry.
Cool. All right. Let's see. One last one. Just because somebody knew as well, Jamie. The Sony Pictures Core app always makes text on screen look odd and pixelated. I see it on both my A95Ls. Noticeable on the white Sony logo on the black screen, like it's over sharpened. Is that just like within the app, like when you're browsing, or is it the actual picture quality? I'll have to take a look at that later too and see. So let us know in the comments. But with that, we got to wrap up because we got to get a timer next time.
Okay. Can I do? Okay, let's rapid fire. Hold on. Okay.
Okay.
Just hang on.
Okay.
CFL, we've communicated the desire for Bravia Connect app to be able to work with some of the previous models. We're not sure what the future holds, but we have communicated that. We've identified that as a great opportunity, and others have as well. So stay tuned, hopefully. Shannon asks, Shannon says right now, they have the A8H in their bedroom, right? And curious if we would recommend the A95L or the Bravia 9. Wow. The debate of the century.
Yes, it is.
I think it's safe to say you cannot go wrong with either one. Derek has an A95L that he swears is the greatest TV ever made. I have a Bravia 9 that I swear is the greatest TV ever made. So I think it's choice and preference. Both are were crowned king of TVs. So if you like the A8H, A95L may give you
be closer to that experience. Oh, goodbye. Thanks for joining me, Larry. Yeah, as he was going to say, the A95L would probably be closer to the experience of the A8 being OLED and OLED. It is brighter, but especially in let's see, what room was that going to be in a bedroom. You know, if you watch later at night, you don't necessarily want it to be too intense. Sometimes an OLED is a little bit better because you have the ability to dim it down a little bit better and still maintain great contrast versus an LED, which is a little bit more challenging because it is so bright. Let's see, the OLED Mafia probably did get him. I think so. I love it. Okay. Jamie, I did make note of that. I will have to take a look at that as well. If you could send us just a little comment after the live is over on this video, I can reply to it with what I see. And worst case, I'll share that as well. Cool. Let's see. Is it suggested to use Wi-Fi or Ethernet on A95, especially when it's a 10100 Ethernet? It really depends on your network. Ethernet is always more consistent. So it's usually better if you are very much wanting to get the most consistent high speed that you're capable of. That's always safer. Personal preference. Yeah, I'm all Wi-Fi, but that's it. So thanks for watching me and some of Larry. Too bad he doesn't get to. Oh, he comes back just at the end here.
I don't know what happened. This like color bars went across the screen and it was like, your access has been revoked. I don't recall saying anything wrong.
Well, you were about to trash talk an OLED. Right. So no, I know you.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm here. My bad, peeps. It wouldn't be a show if that didn't happen to me at least once. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. We got it. Continuity, right? That's what we're looking for.
John got his wish to color bar me. So there we go.
Awesome. So I think we're good. If you have any questions, you can send them into the comments. Send us an email if you like. We'll do our best to respond to everything that we can. And also, I just want to say this as well. Now that I've been able to actually look at some of the numbers in the YouTube world, I noticed that like 97% of the people that watch our lives are not subscribed. If you wouldn't mind and let us know that this is helpful, even if you're just using it as just a one-off, ask a couple questions, share some insight, we do want you to do that. But it is also very helpful for our bosses to see that people want to keep seeing this information. We've got a lot of good reception so far. I know we don't always have all the answers everybody wants, but our goal here is to listen. We are the people that are going to hear the concerns, share that information with the people who can follow up with that and hopefully make changes where needed. So that's what we're going to keep doing. So if you give us a like, subscribe, that would be very helpful so we can show our boss that we have to keep doing this, especially because we keep going over time and we got other work to do. So, but we do love this. We'd love to be here. Update. Yes. That's always the question that comes up. So we'll let you all go. Yeah, there's tons of stuff. If you are looking for good holiday deals, we do have a link for the Sony site to make some purchases if you got some great ideas. I personally think the Theater U is one of the best ones out there. Something like an Altfield 1 is a fantastic speaker for the price. Link buds fit, whatever works for you. This purpose is not to sell. This is to have these talks. But of course, if you have any questions about making the decisions, we'll be doing our best to help with that as well. So
absolutely,
that was a lot of words. Got anything else for us, Larry?
Nope, I'll be better next time.
Larry always aims
John
to
said
be
charge my battery. You know, just plug in the camera would be helpful as well. Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good
free.
idea.
Yeah,
I've
it
had
is,
no
but I had a
issues
backup.
with mine.
Hey,
Just saying.
I had a backup battery though. I was prepared for my failure.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us again. We really do appreciate this. We do have a lot of fun with this. We'll do our best to support every one of you and share that information. But have a great holiday weekend. Those of you who are celebrating, those of you who are not, still have a great weekend, rest of the week. And join us next time if you can. Share it out with some friends. Do you want to come hang out and just kind of talk about cool Sony stuff? We will be here. So thank you, Larry. Thank you, John, wherever you are. And we'll see you next time. John's in the cloud. Yeah.
And thank you, Derek. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
That wasn't awkward. Peace.
Not at all.
You guys enjoy. See you next week.
See you guys. Take care. Be well. Be safe. Be good.